Good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween to you on this Friday, October 31st, 2025. I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride to work. What a fun time to be alive. It's Friday, the government shut down, and it's Halloween. What can go wrong? Well, we've got an update from the Louvre. Jewelry heists have issued a partial confession, and Kash Patel under hot water after, I guess, spending time visiting his girlfriend using the old company jet, taxpayer funded. And then the man arrested for sharing a political meme. Charges have been dropped on him. No surprises there, but he did spend a month in jail. So assuming he's going to get a pretty penny in some sort of lawsuit. And then we've got more on the government shutdown, SNAP benefits, why they're blaming Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialist running for mayor of New York. I got all these stories and more. It starts right now on The Rush. Let's give an update to the tragic happenings in Jamaica. Sean Paul actually is matching donations for aid. Again, they suffered a Category 5 hurricane. Here's what Sean Paul, musician, had to say.
Jamaica is going through a tough time right now. Hurricane Melissa has caused a lot of damage. People are misplaced. People are hurt. People are without any help right now. So I'm asking all of my fans from your heart to give anything you can, no matter how small. It always will go towards helping people in dire need.
So there he is. He's saying any amount of effort you can offer is going to help. And then he's swapping his focus to humanitarian efforts. Rep said that Sean was on the island and is currently preparing to help those in need through his foundation in a partnership with Food for the Poor in Jamaica. Now, I'm kind of hesitant to promote any specific link right now. I've had people sharing different links, but go find a place you trust. And, hopefully we can help in one way or another support the rebuilding there of a real beautiful culture, a beautiful island, and again, just tragedy. What a powerful storm that was. All right, well, in other news, check this out. The 2025 Rockefeller Center Christmas tree has been selected. There it is, a 75-foot tree hailing from the state of New York. That's going to cause a lot of traffic. A Norway spruce. It'll be cut November 6th and arrive at Rockefeller Center on November 8th. I, for one, still have no idea why we cut Christmas trees down at all. Specifically, though, it just gets covered in lights. Can't you just build a fake tree every year? Again, I know the Christmas purists are going to get mad at me, but it's like, if you've ever visited the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, first of all, you're getting pickpocketed. Everyone's sneezing on each other. You leave there with COVID, but it's like, you don't need a real tree. You're not like smelling it. I understand you're at home, you smell the nice tree and whatnot. I tried to buy a fake tree this year at Costco because they normally have good deals. But as we reported, these trees are made in China, and the tariff wars, I'm telling you right now, they are so expensive. So I might be just cutting down a bush from my backyard. Who knows? Do you think my wife will understand? 2 Louvre suspects partially confess, and we have the update from our good friends at 7 News Australia. Have a listen.
And so prosecutors say the 2 men they have in custody over the Louvre heist have partially confessed. Their DNA was...
What does that mean? Did you do it? It appears so. All right, we'll count that as a partial confession.
Allegedly found on a dumped scooter, a smashed window and a dropped crown after the robbery that shocked the world. Police are looking for 2 other associates, and the stolen jewels haven't yet been recovered. One of the men in custody was out on bail at the time of the heist for aggravated robbery.
There it is, So listen, that they've got leverage. If they're looking for the crown jewels, they're probably going to get a reduced sentence if they just turn in the jewels. So we'll have to see what goes on with that. Speaking of reduced sentencing, how about this? Charges dropped against a Tennessee man. Look, I live in Tennessee now. I'm a coastal elite. I come from the East Coast. I lived on the West Coast. You pick a coast you want to hate me for. But living in Tennessee and seeing what I thought was everyone was going to stand up for the Constitution, right? Come on, support First Amendment rights. To see how quickly people turned on this Tennessee man, he is a liberal former cop, which you do not see much of in Tennessee. And he shares political memes online. He shares progressive political memes online, and they arrested him over one he shared. And after a month in jail, they kept him in jail for a month. Now the charges are dropped. Nothing to see here. Have a listen to this.
A state lawmaker is calling a Middle Tennessee man's arrest a brazen attempt at criminalizing free speech.
Retired Officer Larry Bouchard walked free from jail today after spending more than a month behind bars. He was arrested over a Facebook post quoting President Trump. We were there when he returned home for the first time since his arrest. News 2's Kelly Milan reports in an update you'll see only here on News 2.
Tonight, Larry Butchart is not thinking about courtrooms or controversy, just the comfort of his home.
Did you ever think you would end up in jail? I mean, you're a retired officer.
No, I didn't anticipate, you're a bad person, they're going to come haul you away. No.
Yeah, what is that, like, protect the blue unless they have different political opinions than you do, and then in which case arrest them. And again, he was... I mean, when you see the body cam footage, he was so kind to the officers arresting him. You know, they were just doing their job too. They were just enforcing, whatever. But it was all completely, if you're going to arrest somebody, you need to have some probable cause. You need to really understand what the laws are. And so many people post Charlie Kirk being killed, so many people either got fired from their jobs. There was a teacher also in Tennessee fired for literally just sharing a Charlie Kirk quote. Didn't have any context, just shared what the man said. And it's like, look, if you're going to protect the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, you need to fight for the freedom of speech that you disagree with. And if there's a liberal in Tennessee getting locked up because he posted something people don't agree with, it's absurd. We shared yesterday what the sheriff had to say. The guy's in way over his head. These folks are morons. And of course, the law prevails.
This caught me off guard.
But he does say this year has been a tumultuous one after finding himself on the other side of the law. Arrested over a Facebook post quoting President Trump's comment following a 2024 school shooting in Iowa.
I'm a little dizzy because, it doesn't seem real.
So he was using Trump's own words against him. Charlie Kirk dies, and he says, well, Trump says we have to get over it with the school shooting. I guess we just have to get over it with this. Now, that might sound very harsh to say and a lack of compassion, but that's the point. That was the point that people were sharing, which is, well, I mean, we did thoughts and prayers when all these kids were shot and killed, and now we're supposed to be upset? Like, you can't, so whether you agree with that post or not, it certainly should be either. I mean, by all means, if Facebook says it goes against their terms of agreements, they delete it, whatever. But arresting somebody in the United States of America, why aren't more people outraged? And it's like, you might say, well, justice prevailed because they didn't charge him. Wrong. He spent 30 days of his life behind bars. This man who has served to, his city, municipality as a cop and put his life on the line wearing the badge. Now he's behind jail because he shared something he didn't like.
Investigators said that sparked fear among parents who saw it on a Perry County Facebook group. On September 21st, Lexington police showed up with a warrant for his arrest. Butchart seemed confused when one of the officers told him what he was being charged with.
And just to clarify, this is what they charged me with.
Okay.
Threatening mass violence at a school.
At a school?
And of course, he's like, what? I was just playing online. I was just being a boomer sharing some Facebook. I'll tell you what, when it comes time for my son to be in the school system, I am vowing right now I will not be in a Facebook group. I will not do it. I cannot imagine how annoying it must be to deal with other parents and, well, did you see the way the teacher looked? Nope, not doing it. I have a family member who was sending passive aggressive updates to the teacher on social media. No, not happening. Jimmy's going off to school. He's going to get his education and then he's coming home. I'm not doing it. All right, coming up next, we've got Kash Patel slammed for using a $60 million jet to watch his girlfriend perform. Come on, it's romantic. This story coming next. Today's episode is sponsored by Brickhouse Nutrition. We've all tried the fad diets over the years. Juice cleanses, cabbage soup diet, raw food diet. Doctors call it weight cycling. Half of Americans do it, and if you do it enough, you're at risk of diabetes, liver damage, heart attacks, and stroke. Weight cycling is when you lose 10 or so pounds, but then you put the pounds back, plus a couple more. Most people need help to stop weight cycling, and here's a great way. Non-prescription lean was created by doctors. Lean is simply an oral supplement. Its studied ingredients also target weight loss in 3 powerful ways. Lean helps maintain healthy blood sugar. It helps control appetite and cravings, and it helps burn fat by converting it to energy. And burning fat helps keep the weight off. If you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace and keep it off, add Lean to your diet and exercise lifestyle. Get 20% off when you enter Rush Hour at TakeLean.com. That's code Rush Hour at TakeLean.com. Well, trust the source here, ndtv.com. I don't know if this is a credible source or not. Kash Patel slammed for using $60 million FBI jet to watch girlfriend perform. Now, let's be fair. The FBI policy requires the director to use official aircraft for security reasons, but then he repays the cost of any personal travel at commercial rates. So if he lives in New York and he wants to go to Miami, they'll give him the jet for security reasons, and he'll repay them. My question is, do you pay them back at Spirit airline prices or like a normal airline price? But either way, I'm sure he's doing that, but it's, still kind of funny to get called out in a time of government shutdown. Kyle Seraphin posted this. In quotes, "Dear FBI employees, I'm sorry the government isn't funded, so you won't be getting a paycheck. Luckily, that doesn't stop real American freestyle wrestling. So I flew the FBI jet to State College, Pennsylvania, hung out with my chick, and then flew to Nashville where she lives. Hashtag cash." Thursday, and there it is. Joy, because this is all public record there. Hey, he's got a cute girlfriend there. I guess girls dig the FBI directors, right? They're like a man in uniform. Now, there's a lot to say about Kash Patel. There's a whole scandal that was exposed by the New York Times where there's a turf war over the Charlie Kirk shooting investigation between the FBI, which he's the head of, I know, shocking, and the, state investigators, because it's a state crime, right? It's an issue that took place in the state of Utah, and there's this question over who has jurisdiction, who's going to be sharing that evidence, and the main question is it all about ego? Does the head of the FBI want to make it, you always see this play out in Hollywood, right? You see like, hey, I'm DEA, I'm the lead in charge here, and then they tell the cops to go scram or whatever. I don't know how it all works, but that's how it works in Hollywood. And I can imagine the egos that exist. We know his ego existed as the investigation was going on. He was like, we're scrambling airplanes to go to Utah. It's like, yeah, that's what you do. You get in an airplane and you go to Utah. It's an investigation. And it was so bizarre that they immediately made it political, clearly echoing Trump's agenda, which is to make this a left-leaning crime, even though there's really no evidence whatsoever Tyler Robinson was left-leaning. There really isn't. He was in the right-leaning Fuentes chat groups, 4chan, conservative. Who the hell knows? But the point is you immediately got to see sort of a puppet, Kash Patel, with Trump's fist up his ass, sort of telling people what they want him to say. And so whether it's an ego thing that he wants to have more control or not over the Charlie Kirk investigation, or it's a control thing, which is they want to be in charge because there's more to the story, that would play into Candace Owens' conspiracy. My guess is this afternoon, when Candace Owens gets a hold of this, we're going to have more about it because she is like flies on shit. She is white on rice when it comes to covering this type of stuff. And say what you want about it, but there's a reason why there's zero faith in the FBI right now, because they hired some podcaster with a lazy eye to try to tell us what's right and wrong. We're going to get down to the bottom of the Epstein files. How did that work out for you, bro? Now, there's rumors that he has wanted to resign over the Epstein files. Well, he hasn't. He's just flying to see his chick in Nashville. Good to see you. Next time I see you in the skies, I'll wave. But either way, he's just, his approval rating is pretty low. It's pretty low to the ground, but we'll have to see what they come up with, But as far as the Epstein files go, the government is shut down, and Mike Johnson might not bring Congress back for the rest of 2025. Boy, that's a nice job. You mean to tell me we get to pay people to represent us? They don't even have to go to work, and that covers their health care. Meanwhile, we can't even get a food stamp or two. Wow. USA. Speaking of which, here is the House GOP blaming Zohran Mamdani. Hold on, let me check my notes. They're blaming a guy running for mayor about the government shutdown? Huh? Let's have a listen.
We can't allow a rise of Marxist and far-left activists in one party to shut down the entire operation of the federal government. And that is exactly what they are allowing them to do. The Democrats have got to come to their senses. You can endorse communists all you want, but at least keep the government operating for us.
This tells you everything you need to know about the Republican Party. At a time when 4 million Americans are in danger of losing their health care, when the federal government is choosing to price hungry Americans across this country out of their very groceries.
You know, it's so interesting that they want to blame the left for the government shutdown when they're the party that's in charge, both the presidency, the Senate, and Congress, right? House of Representatives. But when it comes down to it, they're not even showing up to work, right? He's basically sent everybody home. They're not even at home doing town halls. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're on Facebook, trying to, get people arrested for their freedom of speech. I have no idea. But it's wild that this is the frame they're trying to, this is the framework they're trying to place this blame on the Democrats. And I think the polling suggests that most people aren't buying it. Most people understand the shutdown is because there's a fight over this big, beautiful bill, which is going to kick people off their health insurance. Everyone understands what that fight's for. And November 1st is the big day. That's when the find out stage of the F around and find out happens. November 1st, tomorrow. The greatest day of the year, my half birthday, and the day after Halloween when you get to watch everyone do their walk of shames, dressed as a drunk sailor or whatever, a bunch of Popeyes running around, eating their spinach, sexy Popeye or olive oil, whatever you're going to dress up as this year. Be safe out there. Give me some candy. But either way, so we're going to see how hosed we're getting as far as how much we're going to have to pay in healthcare costs. Will it go up $300 a month? Will it go up $3,000 a month? In some cases, people went from spending $700 a month to $4,000 a month. I'm getting so many messages from people. This is anecdotal, but I'm getting so many messages from people saying, well, the health insurance I had went up $600 a month, so I had to settle for a lesser insurance. So do you understand what's going to happen there? You get a cheaper insurance, which means your deductible's higher, which means you get that weird scratch, itch, or lump, and you decide not to go get it checked out. 60,000 people a year will die of preventative illness because our healthcare system is broken. And this is the fight we need to do right now. This is the fight for the middle class. It's the fight for, I get it. I get it. People say, Dave, come on, you run a pop culture podcast channel. We don't get to talk pop culture. We don't get to show up for work. We don't get a water cooler if we don't get the right to life and health. And this is all being taken away from people, right? So there's a lot on the line here. The Senate is finally starting to fight back. U.S. Senate votes to cancel Trump's tariffs on Canada. They also did the same thing to cancel his tariffs on Brazil. So some Republicans are forcing their own freedom. Now, this is interesting because there will be a life after Trump. There will be a life after MAGA. And if you're a Republican, you're going to have to deal with where you were when all of these policies were put into place that are robbing people of their bank accounts, really. This is a tax on Americans.
This vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 46. The joint resolution is passed.
That right there was the United States Senate, with the help of some Republicans voting to cancel Donald Trump's tariffs against Canada. Now, 2 days ago, you'll recall we reported here how the United States Senate, with some votes by Republicans, voted to cancel Donald Trump's tariffs against Brazil.
Now, this is what should have happened all along, right? The president doesn't control the purse. The president, and again, he argues, well, I had to tariff them based on the war on drugs, even though no drugs come from Canada and it's not a war, right? He's had to say, well, and so he's used this sort of all-being control, this power that he wants to have by saying it's because of these existential threats. We're at war with Tren de Aragua, and we're at war, and it's like, that's just not what it was all about. And finally, we're seeing people fight back. Is it too little, too late? Here's a good question being asked about Trump. Trump made $800 million in crypto. Just without doing anything, just money that shows up in his bank from foreign influence, just in half a year. So they're asking Representative James Comer, what are you going to do about this? And I've talked to some family about this. I think what it comes down to is so many people don't even know what crypto is, so they don't even know how bad he's robbing them. Have a listen.
But I want to ask you one more thing before you go, as long as I have you, because you're chairman of the Oversight Committee. Right. There's a Reuters report today on the Trump family's crypto ventures. Based on the family's own financial disclosures, Reuters found the Trump organization's income from the first half of this year shot from $51 million to $864 million. About $800 million of that is from crypto. And the story details how most of the buyers are foreign investors and how all this money is going to belong to Trump when he leaves office. Is this something that you're going to look into at all?
Well, it's something that we are, like you, reading about this. We're trying to digest it. The difference between the way the Trump family's operating and the Biden family is they're admitting they're doing this. The president campaigned as a business guy. I'm not defending the policy. I think there need to be ethics reforms, and I had a bill that Jamie Raskin killed last session because he thought that Kamala Harris was going to win the presidency, but it would have increased the disclosure. So as long as you disclose your income and disclose the sources, I think that's acceptable.
I don't think the president should be making any money based on being the president. And people say, well, yeah, but, he doesn't accept the salary. The look, YouTubers make more than the president when it comes to the salary. That's not where they make all their money. They make their money by, accepting donations to their super PACs, by, in this case, accepting donations through a cryptocurrency or through his scam, perfume or his scam watches or all the different ways he licenses his name out. We shouldn't, it's like so evil what's happening. And people go, well, but Biden did. It's like, you don't understand the difference. And again, I don't think, like I said, I don't think that we should have career politicians. I think it should be a short life cycle. I think people that want to be president shouldn't, and people that don't want to be president would probably be good at president. Looking at you, Jon Stewart. But I'll just say this to wrap up this morning here. It's wild, right? The Republicans think that by cutting off SNAP, food stamps, and all these other things, they're putting their finger in, pressing it into the wound, trying to make it so painful for Americans that they'll have to call their Democratic representatives and say, get this government open back up and whatnot. But I think what they don't realize is Americans are smarter than they look. Because we've been a sleeping giant for a long time. We're pretty dumb in a lot of ways. Like Jesus took the wheel, we let the people run with it, and now we're starting to see the visuals. We're starting to see the new ballroom being built. We're seeing the literal transformation of the White House. We're seeing Kash Patel taking his jet to go visit his chick. Right, he's getting a hand job on a jet. Cool, awesome. We're seeing all of these elites that are doing the insider trading where they're kind of investing in things. Donald Trump Jr., invests in a drone company. Then the government buys off of that little known drone company. It's like money just going into the pockets on the $1 billion level. And we're supposed to agree with the Republicans when food stamps run out. The party that's in charge, the party that said grocery prices would go down, you'd be able to afford a home. Trump promised IVF for people that are trying to get pregnant. So many different promises. No new wars. Here we are playing battleships with Venezuela. So I think the hard line is different for everybody. For a lot of people, it's no new wars. For a lot of people, it's release the Epstein files. For a lot of people, it's government assistance. But this line is being crossed in so many different ways that several weeks from now, families are going to be getting together on Thanksgiving. What are they going to be talking about? Who are they going to be placing blame on? Well, the polls say they're placing the blame on the Republicans. Now, not everybody. You'll have people that go to the grave thinking that the Democrats want to do nothing to help people, even though Biden, a lot of his policies helped red states more than blue states. But the point is, this water cooler experiment that we have here as the Rush Hour podcast, hit the subscribe button, give us a 5-star review. This cannot exist without the basic sort of framework that we're fighting for. First Amendment rights, right? We're showing examples in the state I live in where you post the wrong thing or say the wrong thing and they're going to come down and arrest you, ask questions later, spend 30 days in jail. I'd rather live in a world where that doesn't happen, where we live up to the Constitution. And I'd rather every episode not feel like it's me holding up the walls of the levee as the Constitution is about to be flooded. That's where we're at. Not an alarmist, just showing everybody this is what we voted for, and yet we have a chance to stop it if enough of us continue to educate ourselves, share where the problem's coming from, and continue to talk about solutions. Solutions being fighting the fight, understanding and not accepting the gaslighting of what they're telling us is going on. Trump saying his poll numbers are greater than ever. The fuck is he talking about? This is not true. And like I said, I drove all the way from Nashville to Florida and back, and I did not see one MAGA sign. And trust me, you'd see 7 leaving my driveway. I didn't see one of them. People are embarrassed what they voted for. They regret. They're duped. And there's room for everybody in the opposition. We just need to know what we're fighting for. Me? I'm fighting for the middle class. I'm fighting for people to have affordable health care. I'm fighting for our taxes to go back into the country that we pay for them to. And by that, I mean social programs. So I don't care if I'm wealthy. I want to know that my friends and family are all covered too. I want to know that if you trip and fall, that you don't go bankrupt for life and go into medical debt and all these other things that are going on. So as the rich get rich and the poor get poor, a time will come where there is a revolution in the streets when people are fed up. Does that start tomorrow? Yet to be seen. We'll be back, I guess, this afternoon. More coming from Halloween. Maybe this afternoon I'll be in my costume. You'll have to see. We'll talk to you then. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.